Howdy ho, Ranger Joes. Welcome back to MB2 Underground. This is Sarah Kiefer, aka Ms. Kiefer, to you, Joe.
That's right. Welcome, Ms. Kiefer. Good to see you. That's Joe Fox, Vice President of Business Development. So again, Ms. Kiefer, looking beautiful as always.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So I am extraordinarily excited to introduce a high school classmate of mine, the pride of Plano, Texas, orthodontist, Dr. Jed Hildebrand. Welcome, man.
Well, thanks for having me. And God, high school. If I could go back and do that over again, that would be awesome.
You did it well, my friend.
I didn't know y'all went to high school together.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a fun fact.
Lots of
Plano
fun
Wildcats.
Stories. That's right. Hail
Meow.
to Plano. Let's sing the fight song here in a second.
No, that's
so,
okay.
Other than having an incredibly successful orthodontic practice, other than being a state champion soccer player, state champion football player, I would suggest, and also being on the Survivor, at least we not forget. I would suggest one
Do
of
we
your
have
largest.
a celebrity in our midst?
We do have a celebrity in our midst,
Wow.
signing
My
autographs the
15
other
minutes,
night.
I feel like keeps on kicking, but my wife lets me know that it's over.
Well, speaking of, I would suggest your largest accomplishment is that you way outpunted your coverage by burying Dr. Kim. She's pretty incredible. How'd you guys meet?
Freshman of her year, freshman dental school year, she showed up, and my buddies we were all seniors in dental school. She came in and they said, "Man, I think this is the one," before I even met her. And so luckily I had good friends that introduced me day one, and we started hanging out and dating. And then we did a long distance dating while I was in ortho. So we really got to know each other, who we were on the phone. So it was really awesome. And now, how many years later, 20 years later, 22 years later, we're still married and two gorgeous kids.
Beautiful children who
Beautiful
are great
kids.
snowboarders as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't give them a choice. People are like, "Why don't they ski?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm not teaching them how to ski and snowboard." So the wife learned how to snowboard in Ohio at the little hills in Ohio where I was in residency. So she would come up for the weekend and we'd go snowboarding, and never look back.
Love it. Awesome. So your path to becoming an MB2 partner was pretty unique, right? You're an orthodontist. MB2 is now the second largest ortho group in the country, right? But at the time when you were considering partnership, walk us through kind of what you were thinking and kind of decision you made at that time.
When I was looking at it in 2020, luckily I got introduced to the president, Justin Puckett, and we hit it off on a friendship level and just kept talking. I thought, God, if my career were to partner with somebody, I kind of want to partner with people I want to be friends with in the exec team. And they only really had 8 orthodontists, and so I wasn't sure if they were just going to have like 10, 12 orthodontists for the rest of the career. But Justin, promised me, he's like, "You come on and teach us, what looks like a good orthodontic practice and kind of how ortho works and how we can improve you and make your life better as an orthodontist. And we'll help, grow orthodontics in MB2." And it was my trust in him that, he was going to do what he said. And so then I hopped on the bandwagon in 2021. And now what are we at? 118 pure orthodontic offices.
Yeah.
So, that's a 10X. Yeah. So it's very impressive that, they put their trust in me to add me, and then me to help them, show them what I think looks like a good orthodontic practice inside MB2 and what MB2 should look for.
Yeah, I like that because I wonder why choose MB2, a group that isn't known for orthodontics or specialty in general, and partner with them over all of the ortho groups that are out there.
Right. It's one of those, I looked at the tenure out, 10, 20 years out. I wasn't looking to sell my practice and retire, sell my practice and doing an equity flip. I was looking at where is dentistry going? And I think dentistry going, you can't just isolate yourselves into an ortho only and think you're going to survive, because ortho patients have general dentist and have pediatric dentist. And so I felt like if I'm going to save the profession from, a big corporate takeover where everyone's an employee, I felt like, well, all of dentistry needs to group up all of the specialties. So, being inclusive, not exclusive. And I wasn't trying to just join like a boys club of the elite orthodontists. That wasn't like my mission to have I can have study clubs and have some elite groups and share ideas and stuff. But as a practitioner, I really need the subset of all the specialties referring to each other, taking care of my patients. And MB2 was the one that gave me that autonomy, but also, the connections with other dentists to share ideas and grow.
Love it. Love it. So you have a unique background. Your dad's a dentist. Your brothers are dentists. So your path to dentistry, makes a lot more sense than most folks in terms of kind of how they kind of came to that perspective. But why ortho, right? How did you go down that path?
When I'm growing up, your dad's your idol and your icon, and basically like his work-life balance was what my brother saw, and then I just followed my brother's steps, and I was trying to, identify as like a general dentist with hopes to one day like make kids' smiles beautiful. And I at some point when I got back from Survivor, I realized I really have the passion to work with kids and improve their smiles. And so that's the day, like my junior year of dental school, the light bulb flipped and I said, what do I want to do the rest of my life? And when I want to show up to work, who should my patient pool be? And it was kind of teenagers. I feel like I was still acting like a teenager in my mind, and I felt like that would keep me young and happy. And so I pivoted because both my brothers did pros, which is like big restorative cases. My dad was a general dentist, prosthodontist, but that wasn't my path. I feel like my personality led me to the greatest profession I could have for myself and for my personality. So ortho was like a no-brainer.
I love it. That's
and I hear you get really involved in mission work as well. I know we'll both be in Jamaica next month on the MB2 mission trip, but tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that.
Well, as a kid, my parents always, Christmas and Thanksgiving, they taught us how to be servants. And so we would go down and serve food at the missions and the homeless shelters. And, you would get done with a mission and you would I actually grew more than I think I gave. And then as a dentist, I was able to actually give a really good service versus just serving food. And my brother was doing a year mission trip around the world, and I was able to tag along in Cambodia and we would go to orphanages and we would be providing a service that they really did need. And so I was using my profession and my knowledge to really enhance people's lives that couldn't get that care anywhere else. And then we went to Thailand, and we went to India, which was wonderful, and we were able to give back. I feel very fortunate of how I grew up, and I got a profession, and now being able to go back to Jamaica with the MB2 crew. Mission trips are tough to put together, and so I really enjoy the part of being a dentist and giving back, but I'm glad MB2 is doing the heavy lifting and taking care of all the travel and everything.
Yeah, what a cool intersection of passion and professional.
Absolutely. So you come from a lineage of great dentists. The light bulb hit in school. You chose ortho. Why Arlington? Why did you set up shop in Arlington?
When you graduate ortho school, all you want to do is start working and making money because you haven't made money for 22 years of your life. I unfortunately had to work for 14 different orthodontists until I was 5 years out of my ortho residency, and at that moment, a small private practice came available. I got introduced to, and we just hit it off. And I thought, if you could be my mentor for the next 2 years, I would love to be an owner. And we just went to dinners, and I met his family, and it just became a good culture fit of where I was at in my career to kind of have a small boutique practice to keep learning how to run a private practice. And so the benefit was I was able to grow a small practice into a larger practice as like I would be able to hang my shingle and grow a practice. But all I wanted to do was him to teach me how to run an ortho practice and teach me what a good occlusion looked like and kind of the tricks of the trade. So he became my dad / mentor of orthodontics. And I kind of owe my career, my starting point to, his knowledge and taking care of me.
To Ortho Daddy, yeah, for sure. With that support, what do you feel like is the key to success at your practice?
I feel like I've developed great staff, and they're like my family, honestly. You can't run a private dental practice, ortho practice without the staff and the support, because they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You're in the mouth doing the mechanics, but having them take care of the patient calls volume and the accounts receivable and everything, marketing, everything beyond just the ortho makes the experience of the orthodontic children and adults like part of it. So like having a good well-run office just does not fall just on the orthodontist. I'm just one person in the, we have 10 staff. So I'm one of the 10 of the experience when someone comes in for their appointments that they're enjoying. And, when we get the Google reviews, it's 9 times out of 10 not Dr. Hildebrand that they're talking about. It's the front staff that was very nice, or the assistant that was like very helpful and talked to their child about what they were doing and what they were wearing and happy birthday. So it's definitely, I think my Google reviews are, hey, people enjoy the atmosphere that we've created.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about your move to a second location and how that process worked, and kind of what you were thinking at the time.
As we grew, and I realized like my kids were playing sports and growing up, and I would love to, treat some of their friends and family. And I lived in Dallas, and Arlington was a 45-minute drive. So the idea to be able to treat my kids and my kids' friends and their families was, kind of a passion that, fell into my lap. Now I have a practice right down the street from their school. And it's fun to see my little 7-year-old and have her little girlfriends come in. And now I can see my kids are very proud to have me as the orthodontics of their friends. And so it fell into my lap, and MB2 was able to, bridge the gap to provide me to be an owner in a practice near me.
That's fantastic. Walk us through that process. How do you utilize the MB2 facilities team and kind of how you all went about site selection and such?
So it was, it was always having a practice near my home and where I could just pour into marketing and everything. That was the key. And they came to me and they said, hey, a doctor is retiring and an orthodontist. Why don't you meet their family, meet the patient base, go in for a couple working day interview and see if you like the culture. And it was just an immediate fit. And what they were doing is providing, high level care. They weren't overrun with patients. And I was able to, partner with them, buy into the practice. And now I'm an owner, and the staff and me, we go to lunches. We did a bowleria the other day. We're doing pickleball coming up. And so I now have my Arlington family, which my staff family, and my Dallas family. And in Dallas, I just had someone text me today. They're like, hey, I need a wire clipped. And now I feel like there's my passion's reignited where I'm growing a new practice. 5 years out, I always look like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And I try to chase that dream. And this would be to grow a second location where I can treat friends and family.
That's cool.
I love hearing that story of people after they join MB2 kind of like regaining their passion and their balance and like getting re-energized. For you, it may have been a second location, but I know that happens a lot in integration. You've been an owner with us for a couple of years now. I want to get to the fun stuff. What is like one of the craziest memories you have as an MB2 owner? Like we have a lot of events that we do, owners trips, events here at home office.
Man,
spill the tea.
I feel like, I tell this to everyone that wants to join. I was like, do not miss an owner's trip. Yeah, right. Now, when we were in my first owner's trip, when we were down in Cabo and like night 2.
2021?
2021.
Okay.
We were down in Cabo, and all of a sudden there's this massive wrestling stage in the middle of the JW Marriott. Yes. And Puckett and everyone's fighting these these
Luchadores?
yeah, and they're walking through them like, and all the execs are getting deep into it and literally wrestling and like getting body slammed. And then
Where else are you gonna
they
find
asked me
that?
to be like the MC and like narrate it. And I just see the sweat pouring off of everyone. And like everyone's just like, it's not pretentious. Everyone's letting loose. It's really like it was like a wedding of best friends, you know? So like, I feel like that's like one of the moments, and that was right after I joined. And it just solidified like the decision I was making is to join people like me and that I would enjoy hanging out with. And I feel like that have the same passion and mission in life to look at, 5 years down the road, like they're in it for the long haul. This is their career. This is my career that I'm betting on. And it was like, it really solidified that trip, really solidified like my place, and I feel comfortable.
There's special events. There's no doubt about it. What does 5 years in the future look like for you right now?
And I'm always chasing, like if people ask me like, who's your hero, right? It's like maybe the guy in 5 years. I want to be like that guy. I want to be, see my kids just like thrive, see my wife be happy she's a dentist, but now retired. And if she ever wants to go back, like support that. Growing, being a great role model for my kids as like, hey, he's my orthodontist, that's my dad, and providing care and like the smiles for their friends. I feel like that's just gonna like fulfill me. And there's another location, maybe that'll fulfill me. But right now I'm looking at growing the second location like I did in '08. And that was just pouring my passion in my heart, and marketing. I enjoy that a lot. It's like, it's just fun to me. It's like creating something, that I've created. And then 10 years from now, just, envisioning, looking back. And I have so many friends and family that come up to me like, you were my orthodontist and now you're treating my kids.
Oh, how cool.
And it's that legacy where they're coming in and I provided something amazing for them and they're happy about it.
Love it. How do you interface with the MB2 marketing team? Like, what's the interaction and
the cadence is fun because I used to do it all myself before MB2, but I can tell you like I have more big ideas and it was hard to execute them.
Yeah.
And so I was spending so much time with back and forth with some marketing company getting me a PDF or getting me like a splash ad for my website, and it was. I have big ideas and they can execute them and send them back for my approval, and then I can tweak them.
Bring your vision to life.
Yeah, it's like if not, it's all on me to execute. Things are always dropping by the wayside before MB2, but now like we have a pop-up Saturday, right, coming up where I'm going to open for 3 hours for new patients, for Invisalign patients, adults that work 5 days a week. I was like, we brainstormed it. We're doing it in Dallas, and we're doing a pop-up. And I was like, how do we market this? And the MB2 team, like within an hour, had like a web like ad, and we're gonna push it to Google. And like they really manage, since they're my partner, they manage my ad spend and they manage my website better, and I'm able to really like execute on my visions.
Love it. Awesome. What do you see as the future of ortho, or what do you see the issues that are coming to bear for orthodontists like yourself?
Man, when I was looking at groups, I really was looking because, there was one thing that I feel now, it's overhead was just exploding, right? Like, Invisalign cost used to be like $1,000 per case, and now like for a orthodontist that doesn't do very many, maybe it's $1,800. So that's a lab bill, and I don't know how I could keep on incrementally raising my fees because parents have 3 kids. They need they can't have $30,000 of orthodontics.
Well, and they shop around too in ortho.
And so there's compression of pricing, and I wanted to be able to like join a group that could keep my costs down. And so I feel like people that don't join groups are going to have maybe great top line production, but they're going to be taking home less in the future because I don't think with inflation and everything, the amount that you can charge is kind of capped because you have competition. So if you don't have access to join a group for cost cutting or marketing help, I feel like you're going to get smaller, and that's maybe fine, but I didn't want to get smaller. I want to get bigger. I want my kids to be like, wow, my dad's a really successful orthodontist. So how can I make that happen? It's joining a group to keep my costs down, be able to open a second location seamlessly, and really provide the care I need on a growing population versus a shrinking patient base.
So what I hear you saying is private practice is going to be hard to survive. So since somebody said survive, tell us a little bit about your experience on Survivor.
Right. Man, that was
I get all the fun questions.
That was the craziest time in my life where, back in 2002, I submitted a VHS video, right? Like you're recording.
VHS.
You know what that is,
Retro.
Kiefer?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm not that.
So I FedExed it. They called me the next morning. I was walking in dental school. I was a dental student. And they said, hey, love to come out, interview. I ended up making the show where hundreds of thousands of people, apply. I get shipped off to Thailand for 3 months. Wow. And we're starving on the beach, eating, crabs, there's snakes rolling over you. It was the one of the most out of body experiences, because you're doing that and suffering, and you're with people doing competitions, but there's 50 cameras on you. So it's really tough to separate, is this reality? I'm very hungry right now, but everyone around me doesn't seem to be hungry because they're filming me, and
your producer's going and eating after this.
There's booms in my face, and they're asking me questions, and I'm like, God. Yeah, but honestly, I think it was the lessons I learned after the show about, if the spotlight is on you, how do you react to that, and how can you be a good example and use that spotlight to leverage goodness? And so I was able to go around to churches and really speak about my experience and what I learned about myself, and that you can, during hardships, you can still be a good example and a good person of faith, and really share about the best story I ever had was in 6th grade. I had a girl come into our class halfway through the semester, and she said she no one liked her, and she left that summer. But I invited her to my birthday parties. I was always really, really nice to anybody I knew, because I felt their anxiety, and they weren't joining the cliques. Day one of Survivor, the producer came up to me and said, hey, I want to thank you. You saved my life in 6th grade. I was in Plano at Huffman Elementary.
Huffman Hawks.
And she said, you changed my life when I had a 6 month. My dad was in the military, and we had 6 months in Plano, and you were my only friend. She said, when my name came across Jeff Probst's desk from day one of the interviews, she said, get that guy on the show.
Unreal. I had no idea.
It was the most impactful. It kind of shook me for the show is the problem. But she said, so I tell the 6th graders at church, I say, hey guys, the person next to you, that you maybe you think is uncool or just moved here, they could change your life. They could, in 20 years from now, they could be at CBS looking at your name come across. Yeah. Pick you Survivor, which did change my life. So what you do as a kid and how you act to other kids and just giving compassion, especially when they need it the most. And I try to share that story. You don't know how you affect everyone around you.
That's cool. That's so incredible. Well, are you going to be at the next owners trip?
For sure. I'm all in. I'm going to the owners trip in the fall. And,
represent.
We're going to be in San Diego. Probably post recap, even with that maybe coming up.
Should be a lot to celebrate.
A lot. And, I love just meeting up with the dentist, and there's 700 of us now. And then I usually text and email it back and forth throughout the year with a couple of them. And so it's a fun little community. It's we're in dental school and we're in a little frat, so
absolutely.
we all have the same idea of growing in B2, and it's been fun.
Well, your and Dr. Kim's costume game is quite on point. So I very much look forward to costume night at the owner's trip.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, yes.
Well, if it's dress up, you either go all out or don't do it, right? Don't come. So
Right.
They're throwing such a big party. You gotta bring it.
Show up
show
and
up.
show out.
Yeah.
And then it's memorialized in a bunch of pictures throughout the.
You'll never live it down.
I didn't realize that, especially when I was like front row at a couple of them. And I'm like, I think Dr. V probably is just like, get out of there. But he doesn't, and we're bringing it, and I think it's just he lets it roll. So
It's the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Jamaica next month.
The tribe has spoken, I think, Ms. Kim.
I think the tribe has spoken.
I'm out then. Thank you all for having me.
Absolutely. Really appreciate being here, man. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time on the MB2 Underground podcast.
Power to the partners.
Power to the-
Wow.